Hi guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be working on a planting project. We've got 3 different varieties of things, all of which are either new this year or next year. So it's kind of fun. I have no experience with these plants, so this is going to be a first time for me, and we can kind of learn about these together. And here they are. We've got one variety of shrub. This one's new out next year. It's called Kodiak Spiced Durvella. Then another new one for next year is a new type of nepida. Look at how beautiful the leaf color is. It's more on the chartreuse side. They call this one Lemon Perfection. And we've already had to shear it back once, so this is kind of like actually its second bloom, which could be sheared again almost. Usually at a nepida, we can get about 3 flushes of bloom every season, but I really love the contrast of the blue color blooms with that kind of chartreuse foliage. And then we've got a hosta. This is a new variety out this year called Lone Star. And these get quite wide, like close to 5 feet or just under 5 feet, right in that range somewhere. And they get about 2 to 2.5 feet tall. I love a variegated hosta like this one though. Oh, they're so pretty. I'm here on the west side because I was going to show you a couple of other hostas that are types that get bigger and kind of what they do in our area. These actually look pretty good. I mean, for us, we typically don't have hostas get super big because our climate is so dry and hot. This is a Empress Wu. Look at the size of the leaves here. They're huge. But see, this is what happens. It doesn't matter how much water we give them at the root level. With our dry air and all the wind we get, they tend to tatter a little bit and kind of burn on the ends, but overall looking pretty good. And then this is a Woo La La. Now this one, I really wish I would have planted it a little bit more this way, but I already had a witch hazel planted. This is where the sun comes in. And for some reason, I thought the sun started over a little bit further, so this side of the plant just burns. But this side looks pretty good. Look at this leaf. My goodness. And the Woo La La is kind of just a different version of the Empress Wu. They get very similar in size, but this one has that variegation on the side. Hey, Douglas. So for the end of July, I feel like those hostas are looking pretty good. I think I would like to plant these in the Dream Stream area, sort of underneath that big Sensation box elder tree we have. It is a zone 3 through 9, which I think most of the hostas we've got in our garden are right around that same range, that same zone range. And the flowers on these are white in early summer. And then the Lemon Perfection nepida, you might be familiar with Cat's Pajamas or Cat's Meow. They're another couple in this same series. And so the name Perfection is P-U-R-R, like a cat's purr. So it kind of goes along with the same naming theme, I guess. But this one stays smaller than both Cat's Pajamas and Cat's Meow, which Cat's Pajamas stays pretty small, like 12 to 14 inches. This one grows about 10 to 12 inches, but they're just such reliable, top performing perennials in our garden. I'm excited to plant this one. Zone 3 through 8 can handle a lot. Full sun, crummier soil, doesn't need a whole lot from us, which is wonderful. Isn't this pretty though? The contrast of this more fluffy, more fine foliage with the big bold. I love that. And then we've got the Kodiak Spiced Durvella, which is just going out of bloom. So they load up with these beautiful yellow blooms in the summertime. And the really cool thing about this one, and some of the other Durvellas that I've actually experienced growing in our garden, is that the color of their foliage in early spring is gorgeous. It kind of comes out orange, kind of orangey red, and you can see a little tinge coming back, and then they turn really pretty in the fall again. So they kind of go in and out with different color tones throughout the season, which I think makes a plant a little bit more interesting. And Durvellas, along with dogwoods, are 2 of the more versatile shrubs, like deciduous shrubs, in terms of light adaptability. So while the tag, I think the tag will say that this one likes full to part sun, it can handle a shadier spot. It may not bloom quite as much, but it will still thrive and it will still grow. And so you've got that versatility there, which is always really nice. They grow 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, so they'd be an easy one to sneak into the flower bed. And they are a zone 3 through 8. They bloom on new wood, so you can trim them up if you want to, as late as springtime, and they will still bloom for you. But with a 3 to 4 foot growing shrub, usually we're not having to prune on them. I try as best as I can, and I don't always succeed to put stuff in a spot where they can get to their full size, for the most part. And depending on how all of this goes, if it all goes to plan, I did put some baskets in the back of our gator so we can maybe go get some blackberries. It's been a few days since I've harvested out there, so I'm sure there's some waiting for us. I think I would like to start with the sun planting first and get that done earlier. It's gonna be 100 degrees today. So we'll get the sun stuff done first, and then we'll save our hostas for the last planting project. Those will be in the shade. All right, I think I found the perfect spot for the nepida. This is right where we just recently planted that silverthorn, Mr. Seedless. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. And a buddleia. We just planted that Miss Violet, I think last week, and we've got some heartstrings coreopsis. And I really wanted a pretty kind of like more versatile color to go in between the red coreopsis and the more pink daylilies. And I think this is really nice and it shows up. Look at that. That really contrasts everything around it. And in this kind of, it's in the shade in the morning time, but it'll get lots of sun in the afternoon. But boy, it really just shines. I'm gonna have to check the spread. Spread is 18 inches. So we're just going to place these around, and I think this is gonna be perfect. What?
I just want to stay here for a little bit so I can be in the shade.
Okay, there they are. Don't they look beautiful right here? And I usually don't come in unless it's a formal situation and do a whole border like this, more like a hedge. But I think in this situation, it's going to be perfect because then it allows us some space to do something else taller with a little bit of a different texture. And then this will be a nice lower flower for the border right here. And it looks really pretty tucked in front of the coreopsis. So it'll kind of join together this whole area while allowing like this whole back section to be a bunch of different things. Kind of that unifying piece. I just love it. And look at our powerhouse hydrangeas. Remember when we planted these? They were just leaves and they were little. I mean, they're still little, but look at their blooms. They're so beautiful. And I left this spot open for a possible small evergreen or a grass. Probably an evergreen though. Maybe we'll do a little evergreen there and a grass here. I don't know, but I'm loving these. Okay, let's go find a spot for these durvellas. First durvella, right here. I was kind of thinking initially of putting it, kind of tucking it back in this open area, but I think I want another evergreen right here because one, I like the look of this with everything else around it. We've got a Rudbeckia, can't remember what kind of grass. Is it some kind of miscanthus? And there's a Beyond Midnight Caryopteris that looks gorgeous. But if you come down this way, I think having a low growing green evergreen in that spot might be nice because all of this Joe Pye weed, while it fills in beautifully right now, all of that gets cut back in the wintertime. So I think having something more weighty right there for the rest, you know, for the winter months would look really nice. There's the fish. Things are looking pretty good. Our water lilies are looking excellent. And we do not have string algae right now. We've got like a little fuzz on the rocks, but you don't see that big string algae like billowing through the water. It's awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna get that one in the ground and the other two will probably end up close to the same location. So I'll show you those once I get those planted. Do those smell good, babe? Yeah. Yeah, right there. Got them all in, 5 of which ended up around the pond. 1 is on the north berm. And there's our first Durvella, looking gorgeous. So 3 to 4 feet again. So it'll fill up this area beautifully. And then if we pop something evergreen, like a deep green, to kind of contrast the blue one right there, I think that would be nice. The next Durvella ended up in a spot where I planted one of those Royal Raspberry Agastaki here recently. And when we had that big windstorm come through, it completely demolished 2 of them. So I went ahead and planted one of the Durvellas right in its spot, and I think it's beautiful. You're gonna get buckets for what? Oh, I don't see any algae to gather, babe. There's just a little fuzz on the rocks. Look at that. You're gonna get it anyway? Well, I'm gonna head to the blackberries here in a minute. Do you see that little baby? The gold one? Okay, well, you can't be here by yourself though. Got 2 different shoes on. 5 minutes? Okay, sounds good. Okay, so there's the Durvella right there. I actually like it better than having all the Agastaki, which the other ones are doing great. Like beautiful, looking amazing. And then I think having that soft texture right behind it and the different color of foliage, because this one's like more of a deep velvety green, and this one's more of a bright, kind of just brighter and more of a bold leaf. Really pretty. Okay, hostas are over there. The kneeling pad. Samantha says they make for an excellent surfboard. She likes to throw them in and jump on them. Okay, hostas are here, and they're intermixed with the, oh my goodness, it's a new Gatsby type glow ball of oak leaf hydrangea. So having those, which will be much taller, and these underneath, it's gonna be so pretty. It already is pretty. And we are gonna be carving this out actually soon. We decided to bump the whole patio project for this area to this year instead of waiting on it. So we are gonna be cutting in to this flower bed just a little bit, not with a formal, I don't think it'll look like that walkway. It'll be more like individual flagstones that kind of come up through here and lead you to a flattened patio seating area where we can get some chairs in here and be a little bit more comfortable. But you can see how beautiful of a spot it is to sit in. You got a bucket, good job. Yeah, Paul's working on the tractor. Okay, we'll see what you come up with. I think having the hostas here is going to be beautiful because they'll kind of come over the edges and soften these stones. And then this one is going to be kind of a centerpiece here. And, you know, add that to the red dragon Japanese maple foliage, having that boldness and the brightness is so pretty. And then I'm thinking of popping, it's called Celtic Pride. So I can't remember what type of evergreen it is, but it's soft and it's beautiful. And I think it would be great in this location. So we might do that here in the next day or 2. So we've got some evergreen element back in here. But those hostas look gorgeous. Oh, you did find some, just kind of tucked away, huh? Right up in here. Good job, Samantha Grace. Samantha, you are a hard worker. You want me to help you? Oh, there's like baby fish in here, like right there. There's a baby.
Hey, Mom,
Yeah, baby.
Look at that over there.
Ooh, let's see if I can reach it.
Yeah, you can't reach all there to the other side. You're going to have to go on the log.
Probably.
Yeah. You're going to have to go onto the log. Caught some. Put it in here, Mama.
Okay.
Here's some. Ew. This is a yucky. Ah! Ma? Never mind. Ma, these ones are hard to get.
Well, you don't have to get all of it, baby.
I can get all of it. There's this over here.
Oh, there's 2 little orange babies down in there too.
Put it on this kneeling pad.
Yay! And here's the Durvella on the berm. You know, we recently planted the hibiscus out here, and oh my goodness, the 3 on this end, like shocked right away. They looked so sad, but they have perked back up and they are not wilty looking. I mean, the one maybe in the middle has a little bit of a wilt, but pretty good for when you're planting when it's so hot. But I think that this bright green in here is really nice. We've got, you know, a hibiscus here that's got the darker leaf color. They're called Berry Awesome. And then we've got a peaking cotoneaster, which has a dark green glossy leaf. And then we'll have this nice bright pop with the Kodiak Fresh. So those are all of our plants in. Let's go pick some blackberries. Okay, I'm not sure what size of basket we're gonna need here, but we'll just go with this one for now. Let's take a look over here. See this one right on the end? They're just now starting to ripen. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? That was a good one. Blackberries are a tough one because they can feel squishy and they can look all the way ripe, but unless you wait until the very end, they still have a tart factor. But there's still tons on these middle branches. Like, look in here. Look at this. I can't even get all of these in my hand. They're too big. That is just amazing. And then the one on the end here, I noticed is really starting to go for it. Yeah, my goodness. Look at those. Ooh, that was better than the first one I ate. Oh, you guys, they're so good. So glad we planted these. Okay, so we're just gonna start in and see how many of these we can get picked. That is just amazing. That one's almost as long as my pinky. This one might be. Nope, almost. All right, guys, this is today's haul, and I'm trying to be careful because, look, I realized my basket has a hole, and berries will come pouring out of that if I'm not careful. There are so many berries on these plants, but so many of them, like even ones that look like they're ripe, they're not quite squishy enough yet. And I'm sending all of these home with a friend, so I kind of want them to be peak yumminess. Okay, but like, look at this right here. Look at all those berries forming up. It's a lot like other crops in that really, you really want to be out here almost every day picking. Missed one right here. That beauty, a little petal on it. Did I see another one I missed? Oh, yep, right there. I just could not be happier with this whole patch of berries. Look right here. This is gonna be a feast one of these days. And I just spent a bunch of time stripping whatever gold raspberries I could find off of these plants. These are the fall golds right here. This little area of the bed is struggling, and I'm wondering if the drip is not working toward this end of the bed quite as well. But they've been producing berries for a while now, and they are so, so good. They're so much better than red raspberries. I know that's subjective, but that's just my opinion. And red raspberries are loading up as well. You can see them starting to form up. We're gonna have a huge crop, huge. Aaron will be thrilled. Raspberry jam is his favorite, so we'll be sure to get enough to make a few batches of that for him. Anyway, guys, that is gonna do it for today's projects. A little bit of planting, a little bit of picking. What a great day. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one.